Hello everyone, welcome to another Homeworlds game commentary. This is a game between Z-Watcher and pepvis. As I'm recording this, I happen to have just casted games with each of these players, but not these two players actually playing each other. Z-Watcher's up first. Z-Watcher picks medium yellow Gemini. pepvis also takes medium yellow Gemini. This must be a recent game. Yeah, April 12, 2023. I guess large Gemini is even more in fashion the last few weeks, it seems like. Anyway, both players building Z trading for red. pepvis. Oh, that's a little surprising. Thinking about moving to a red star, that would seem to give Z an advantage, since Z has already traded for red. Z gets pretty close to shutting pepvis out of yellow, what am I saying? Shutting pepvis out of red that way. And if you are curious, the reason that sometimes the color blindness aids appear on the pieces and sometimes they do not is that I get whatever visual settings were used by the player whose perspective I have taken. So Z-Watcher must have played this game with the colorblind assist on. So I think if the player whose perspective I have used the buttons that show up at the top, I think I would be getting a view of the buttons. It's just as well we're not, because I think the buttons are kind of annoying, but they're very helpful for new players. Okay, so I think pepvis should take that back, and they do. They also trade for red. That's better. Z could build green or red here. They pick green. pepvis also builds green. Z could build green again, spread out, or trade for another color. They spread out the greens. No. They trade for yellow. Yes. Yeah, either I think would have been fine. pepvis does spread out the greens. Nothing too shocking just yet. Oh, yeah, okay. That's a good... Sometimes I feel like games are a discussion or an argument. And so when somebody makes a good move, I think, yes, that's a good point. Z... Oh, no, it's not. So Z thinking about threatening the little green in Altair. For a moment I thought pepvis didn't have any red anywhere, but if Z does this, pepvis should just sacrifice their little red at home to capture Z-Watcher's red. Z commits, though. pepvis cheerfully captures that little red. I am very surprised by that turn of events. Z-Watcher is not a new player. They've played quite a bit. That seems like a significant blunder. Nope, don't see any good reason for that to have... Oh, it could just be that Z forgot that the systems were connected. This game was played... Looks like this was turn-based, though played in fairly rapid style. But there were 10 minutes between turns here, for example, so definitely a turn-based game. Okay. So Z, my guess is that Z just forgot the topology of the universe. All right, Z building green some more. pepvis building red. I think Z had better take that last little red, or they'll have a little more trouble getting into reds. Let's see, pepvis now probably shouldn't build the medium red, because that would bring everybody back pretty close in material. trading for yellow. Yeah, that's good. Z will have to spread out their... Will have to find a new colony for their little yellow ship before building now. Z picks another green. Pepvis also takes green. No, they take green, but at their homeworld. That, yeah, I like that better. This way, if Pepvis builds a medium green on their next turn, they'll get to build it in their colony, where a larger ship would be a nice defense. Pepvis instead thinking about building a little yellow. That'll put pressure on Z-Watcher to move their little yellow to another colony, since otherwise Pepvis can slow push yellows. Building a little green at home, they commit to that. Yeah, that's a fine move. I like that. Let's see what Z does. They don't want to build the medium green. They might spread out their greens so that they can build a medium green next turn. Or they can trade for the first blue and block Pepvis from getting medium green. That's good. Pepvis takes yellow. Yeah, and they commit to it this time. Like I said, that will pressure Z to move their yellow someplace else, which they do. Let's see. Pepvis, I think I would stick with the plan of building a G2 in Altair. I guess they're worried about missing out on blues already. But they build the green anyway. I think that's for the best. Okay, what does Z do? Z could build green. Building the green would be a little bit dangerous, though, as Pepvis could start slow pushing greens at Z. Yeah, building the medium yellow is probably better. It's still a medium ship, but and Z can't build a large yellow right now because... Did I just say Z? Pepvis can't build a large yellow since Z would be able to overpopulate. So that's a good choice. Pepvis, I'm guessing, will spread out their yellows so that they're prepared to compete with the yellow construction Z is trying to do. Z has just had their Betelgeuse colony invaded by Pepvis's little yellow. So that both... I actually clearly remember the first time I did this. I was playing with Will, and we were both trying to get the same color, and I thought, well, why don't I just simultaneously spread out my ships and increase the concentration of that color in their system so that they can't build, but I can. Of course, Z might choose to reciprocate, just move the little yellow to Altair, but they don't. They move to a new colony. I think that's quite acceptable. Though Pepvis will be able to get 2 of these large yellows if they feel like it by sacrificing a G2, and Z-Watcher would only get to build 1 in that case. Yeah, Pepvis takes the sacrifice and double build. Looks like they had another idea, but committed to this anyway. Z, I think, will pretty certainly build the Y3. Yes. All right, Pepvis now might be a little tempted to capture this Y2, but it would mean sacrificing their only red, and Z-Watcher would have a red and Pepvis would not, and that's always an ugly situation. So I think Pepvis can't actually sacrifice their red. Pepvis might prefer to spread out their yellows. Because otherwise Z will move a little yellow into the Betelgeuse colony. to destroy Pepvis's spare large. Pepvis is up by a large otherwise. Interesting. I don't see that this does anything in particular. Pepvis, I think, is not likely to spend the time to move their little yellow one at a time to... Oh, well, Pepvis should probably be happy to trade evenly large and small for large and small, since Pepvis is the one with an additional large on the field. So this really is some pressure from Pepvis. They change their mind. Oh, Y3 sacrifice. This is always so exciting. I love seeing the yellows fly back to the bank when I don't know what's going to happen next. I guess they think they see an opening. I don't think I see it. They could move both of their remaining larges into Z-Watcher's home. Z-Watcher can... Oh, you know what? How interesting. This is not an invasion type that I see very often, or perhaps have thought hard enough about. Okay. Z-Watcher only has one red ship. That is the only red they have to their name. Pepvis only has one red as well, but it's safely out of the invasion zone. If this, I think this little red is about to become a vulnerability to Z-Watcher, particularly having it at their home, which might seem like it's safer. I think of it as safer, but I think Pepvis is about to teach me something. If Pepvis moves both of their larges into Z-Watcher's home, then Z-Watcher can capture one of the invaders, but then Pepvis can sacrifice their little red to capture the only red that Z-Watcher has in the whole world. Pepvis then has a red and a large in Z-Watcher's home, and Z-Watcher has no reds. Z-Watcher will have two larges, however. But they might have a hard time fighting back, I think. So I think that's the invasion that Pepvis has planned. But I think Z survives by sacrificing B2, B1. So after, let's see. Yeah, so after Pepvis invades, Z-Watcher sacrifices B1 to trade, let's say the Y3 for R3. Pepvis can capture the red or one of the larges, but then Z-Watcher can sacrifice the red to capture all of Pepvis's invaders. No, if Z-Watcher trades for red somewhere else, then Pepvis can take the Z-Watcher's large ship instead. Okay, well, anyway, let's see what actually happens. Oh. Pepvis was just looking at sacrificing one yellow for the others there. I like that less well. I think they... Okay, I've forgotten where everything was exactly to start with, but I think they could have moved their... Could they not have moved their large yellow into that colony for the catastrophe? I can't back up and I've forgotten, but this is also not too bad for Pepvis. They have got a pretty clear material advantage, including a spare large ship that they can torment colonies with. Oh, good, we got another view. Oh yeah, Z moved their Y2 out at some point for, well, for whatever reason. There weren't three yellows in caster before. Okay, what does pepvis do? Sacrifice the Y3, but they've just got their eye on this overpopulation here, which is fine. I do like this a little better since it keeps their colony ships together. They support each other. All right. Well, that was a good move from pepvis. I think they may have had a winning invasion though. I'll be interested to see what anybody has to say about whether that invasion I described would actually have succeeded. All right, Z now building yellow. That's probably the best defense they have against pepvis invading Betelgeuse with their large. I keep coming very close to mixing up the names, especially when talking about the colonies, because Pepvis's colony is closer to Z-Watcher's home on the screen. All right, let's see here. What does Pepvis do? Building green. In the colony is my guess. Building yellow. All right. Z spreads out the yellows. I guess they're going to fight for rebuilding in the yellow stash. What's pepvis do? I guess they could just spread out their yellows as well. Oh, build the green. That's what I was suggesting last time. I think that's pretty good. Z does not want to build green. I think pepvis would cheerfully sacrifice their Y3 and 2 greens to... It's confusing that the word sacrifice means return to the bank for sacrificial actions, but in more general terms means to spend something. So I to spend something for a benefit. I think of if Z-Watcher builds G2, pepvis sacrifices Y3 to move these 2 yellows into Z-Watcher's home. I think of that as also being in a looser sense, also a sacrifice of the greens. You know, with the Y3 sacrifice, pepvis would have enough movement to move the 2 small greens into Z-Watcher's home instead of using the medium. But that's probably not what Z-Watcher's going to do. They build the yellow. That's good. Pepvis can't build the Y3, but Z-Watcher can. That's actually not too bad, I suppose. Pepvis taking one of the large yellows out of the bank. If Z-Watcher builds the other one, then Pepvis, after they spread out their yellows, will be able to cash in on this investment. They are thinking about instead spreading out their yellows so that they're prepared to build the Y3, but also taking a G2 out of the bank. I think that's a good idea because Pepvis has most of the green, and Z-Watcher, I think, is going to take the yellow instead of the green here since they get a large, and Pepvis then, soon after, can build a G2 here in Altair and have all but one of the green pieces. They can start pushing the greens at Z to probably destroy their large green at home. Z builds the Y3. Pepvis builds Y3 in Electra, I bet. Oh, yeah, it's time for the factory. Yep, there was so much green cleared out of the bank that Pepvis could factory. Good choice. All right, let's see, Z, what have you got? Z is still down quite a bit of material. They don't have a factory. I think Z should think... Oh, boy. So the first thing that comes to mind is sacrifice Y2 to push these little yellows into Electra so that Pepvis gets cut down by a large ship. My other thought is, what if Z-Watcher were to start an invasion right now? If Z-Watcher moved a large into Pepvis's home, they would almost certainly sacrifice their red to capture it, and then Pepvis would have no red. Z-Watcher could move their other large into Pepvis's home. But Z-Watcher also only has one red, so they wouldn't get very far with capturing things in Pepvis's home. Interesting. Let's see what they pick. Looks like they like the catastrophe as well. That brings Z-Watcher down to very few ships, but they are at least now even on larges. Pepvis still has a factory, but they can't employ it until they get their greens spread out so that they can clear out the... by factory, I mean with only 2 greens in the bank. If Pepvis spreads out their greens from the colony, they could sacrifice G3 to build these 2 greens and then rebuild their large green. So it's a factory that can only produce greens. Looks like they want to get into the blue. Trying to rebuild yellow is also not a bad idea. They stick with the blue. I think building more red is also not bad. Although maybe neither player needs to build red until the other one does. Since the defense only needs to be as strong as the offense could be. Alright, Z getting their blue somewhere that it can build more safely. Pepvis spreading out the greens. Since they traded away one of their greens, they don't have a factory anymore. There are too many smaller greens in the way. They'll have to do some rebuilding. Okay. Pepvis instead moving their little blue to a small green star, so it actually helps with their progress in cleaning out the green bank. Z building yellow. Pepvis spreading out green some more. I think that's pretty good. They want their factory back. What does Z do? Z might want to build green as well. Pepvis has been sitting here with nothing but 2 greens at their homeworld for a long time. If Z were to start picking up some greens, Pepvis would have to do some rearranging to keep their home safe. Yeah, okay, so in fact Z trades. This puts immediate extreme pressure on Pepvis to change around their home greens. Since if Z-Watcher commits to this, it's check. Z-Watcher, if Pepvis passes or does something unrelated, Z-Watcher sacrifices Y3 to move both greens into Pepvis's home for the win. Z-Watcher commits. Let's see what Pepvis picks. Sacrificing Y3? I maybe thought they saw a power play, but I'm not so sure. Moving green. Oh, yeah. That's too many greens in Deneb. I get pretty nervous when a ship is the same color as its star, and with good reason in this case. Yeah, Z-Watcher is back to square one. This is a turn 3 position. Pepvis has a fair amount more material and more colors. Pepvis, I guess, doesn't have all that much more, but percentage-wise, it's a big deal. But it's also a pretty big reset, so game might go on for a while yet. All right. Z builds, pepvis builds blue. If Z doesn't trade for blue, pepvis might carry away quite a bit of the blue, and with 2 medium blue stars already gone, the blues are a ticket to larges pretty soon here. Z does trade for blue. Pepvis trades green for yellow. That surprises me a little. Oh, no. Well, that threatens to overpopulate Z's blue star, but Z can just spread out and it doesn't matter. Doesn't make much difference. And pepvis, I liked the green at Altair better overall. I think they could build and then diversify. They could have built green, then traded for yellow, and then proceeded to build more yellows. That would have been better, I think. No, they commit to that yellow trade. All right, Z. Maybe not noticing this blue threat at first. Building a little green. Then they saw it. They moved to a new blue star. Sorry, they moved their blue to a new green star. Pepvis now. Could build green. Probably don't want to build blue. Yeah, if they build blue, then Z has the option to build a large blue, and that's not so good. They trade for a little yellow. Okay. That way now they've got a place where they can build more yellow and more blue. And Z, if they build more blue, they're back to having to build small, but pepvis changes their mind anyway. And they change it back. Okay. That's a good move. I think that's their best. Okay, Z goes ahead and takes that little blue. Pepvis can take the medium blue. And having acquired a yellow in that colony, if Z were to build the large blue, pepvis wouldn't even have to sacrifice the yellow like they would have a couple turns ago in order to trigger the overpopulation. All right, Z also trading for yellow. But pepvis has a nice head start in the yellows. Pepvis could even pull a shopping spree if they felt like it. Sacrifice the G3 to build a large and build a small and formal hut and 2 larges in Altair. Z-Watcher wouldn't be able to overpopulate, and if Z-Watcher builds that other large, pepvis can sacrifice Y2 to move 2 yellows into Gemma. Pepvis will have 2 large yellows at that point, and Z-Watcher will only have 1 large ship, their original green. Pepvis, though, thinking about finally getting some more red. Yeah, Z takes the little blue, which opens up the medium for pepvis. Or pepvis can just invade Gemma. Pepvis can now start capturing these ships one at a time. Z can start running away. They might even sacrifice the Y1 to run away faster and take the yellow out of pepvis's crosshairs. But this is not a good situation for Z-Watcher. They run away with the yellow. Probably the best choice, since the yellow can continue to run if it gets threatened again. Pepvis takes the little blue. Z-Watcher could build... So they could build blue, and then if pepvis captures one of these blues, then Z-Watcher can build again, and at least they will have lost the 2 blue ships, but they'll at least be denying the blue ships to pepvis. Looks like they're thinking about it as well, and they commit to it. Pepvis, uh, I think they do need to capture that medium blue because otherwise Z-Watcher sacrifices the R1 to capture the R2, and then Z-Watcher has caught up in material quite a bit. Yeah, they. Oh, yeah. They've got. I I was leaning in and looking at that colony so closely that I forgot that that medium blue build opened up the large blues for pepvis to build. Yep, that's better. Oh, really? Pepvis thinking about capturing anyway. I definitely like the large build better. Um, yeah, I think this build is the correct move. At least cuts down on Pepvis's material. All right, Pepvis has a pretty advantage here. Let's see which way they go. I think I would pursue blue or red. Well, or no, not yellow. Z-Watcher has a yellow ship. Building some blue. Z builds green. I should try to hustle this along. This game had a big old reset earlier, so it might be a while. Okay. Pepvis pushes blues. Z. It's pretty much too late for Z to get into the blues since the smalls are gone. Trying to get some reds. Pepvis also gets red. Z, I think should. Gee, Z can't even hang on to a medium ship right now. This is kind of a problem. I think. Gee, yeah, I don't see that Z has a good move. Let's see what they come up with. Trading for a little yellow. Um, Actually, that's not all that bad. At least economically, since Pepvis can build a large yellow, but Pepvis can't sacrifice to build all three large yellows, or Z-Watcher will overpopulate two of them, either with their small yellow at home or the small yellow in this colony. And if Pepvis only builds one or two of those large yellows, then Z can build the other one. The problem with this move is that Pepvis can now invade Z-Watcher's home with either of these yellows, threatening to sacrifice and take Z-Watcher's only red ship, and if Z-Watcher doesn't capture the invader, then Pepvis moves in the other yellow for a catastrophe, and Z-Watcher's down to 1 star. Pepvis thinking about the shopping spree. 2 yellows. I think they saw the same thing I did, that 2 yellows is not enough. They just build one of them ordinarily. Okay. Yeah, Z I think is planning on building that Y3 in Hadar, but Pepvis I think will move yellows into Z's home for to demolish the star. There's a few different ways Pepvis could go about this. Moving the small first. Yep, that's fine. Z takes it, and Pepvis moves in the medium yellow for the catastrophe. And now Z-Watcher's in big trouble because Pepvis has already got all the blue they need, and Z resigns. Okay, well, yeah, Pepvis had little advantages early on. That I think that little blunder with Z-Watcher dropping a small red ship just gradually grew into an overwhelming advantage for pepvis. We saw that that pretty big reset where Z-Watcher was down to just 2 ships and pepvis had quite a bit more. Um, little things grow into big things in Homeworlds. So yeah, that's it for now. A reminder that I do accept monetary donations. If I get some spare change, I would like to invest in some decent video editing software so that I could actually clean up these videos a little bit. I might edit out some yawns, for example, since I'm having to record these early in the morning while I'm still pretty tired. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Bye.